My presentation is called Human Values in Music Pathways Programs. So what I do for my job is I work at the Chicago Musical Pathways Initiative, which is a program in Chicago. Um, yes, okay. And our mission is to identify and develop gifted and motivated orchestral students from underrepresented backgrounds for acceptance into top-tier conservatory, college, or university classical music programs in preparation for careers as professional musicians. There's different ways we do this. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But the community makeup that we serve are BIPOC people, first generation people, and low income pre-college musicians in the greater Chicago area. So most of the students are between 6th grade and 12th grade, and they each have unique needs depending on, the instrument they play or whatever else is going on, and obviously the age. My seniors right now, they are actively auditioning for conservatories and colleges right now. And then there's also sister initiatives in other cities like Boston, Philadelphia, Nashville, Atlanta, and Baltimore/DC. And then there's also we're working to have a national pathways collective going on too. So, okay. So the problem that's addressed by practicing human values in the context of this program is the white supremacy culture in classical music. Things such as, only dead white guys get programmed for things traditionally. If you look at orchestras throughout history, it's basically all white. It's basically all male, and we're trying to change the makeup to reflect more of the, America at large. And something that's also addressed through this initiative is, our students are not seeing a path forward as a classical musician necessarily, or they don't think it's possible for them because they don't see people that look like them succeeding. And as a result, they don't feel confident in their abilities or worth as a person/musician in this world. And I should back up because I feel like my job is very vague how I described it. So basically, if I could describe it, the short version is that so there's like multiple pillars of support for CMPI. So we have the educational pillar. So we have our students take private lessons with top musicians in the area. We have them attend workshops and seminars in different topics. We just did a career panel workshop a few months ago, how to work with a collaborative pianist, things like how to deal with performance anxiety, just things that we wish that we would have been taught, at a younger age. And then we also have juries for them, which is basically a graded performance, and we have evaluation, and we meet with them on a regular basis to kind of see how they are and check in with them and guide them on their path. So that's kind of the very, very broad title, thing of what I do. Okay. So I define human values as it teaches you how to access your true authentic self outside the context of societal pressures that force one to change or suppress their true nature in pursuit of success, whatever that means, necessity, or dealing with perceived threats. And in the context of music, being mindful of skills learned through human values helps the musician access their ability to connect with their musical souls, which in turn allows them to communicate authentically through music in their own communities and throughout their lives. So we're hoping to have like a really strong basis for whatever they want to do throughout their lives as musicians. So the initiative, I'm just calling it Follow Your Fear. I might change the title, but that's what it is right now. I have a quote: "Follow your fear. It's a GPS for where your soul wants to go." And I don't know how many of you are musicians, but we've all had the experience of, presenting to people or performing, and it's kind of scary, but we know that that's where the meat and potatoes of our lives begin and are. Okay. So the purpose of this initiative is it's going to help my community develop their musical and artistic identities by holding space for the humanity of each musician. Also, it will work through each person's inner thoughts so the experience of playing music is enjoyable and communicative. And it will challenge each musician's comfort zone by offering a brave space and personalized support. Um, Something I love doing, actually, my favorite part about my job is the whole mentorship part of it. Um, for example, okay, I don't have a story slide, but here's a story. I have a senior clarinet player who is very, very nervous about, her career in classical music, and she has lots of performance anxiety. She sometimes cries after her performances because it was just so like traumatizing for her. And I've been helping her. I've just been checking with her a lot, and she's now finding success in her college auditions, which is great. A little bit more of the methods I've used, not just for that student, but I'm thinking of other students. So mock auditions, which is basically like, whatever you have to play for this performance, whether it be, one piece or a whole recital's worth. The best way to kind of handle your nerves is to just practice being nervous, and that just comes through playing. It also helps you practice being prepared as well. Some things I've helped kids with is like trying on different characters or moods. And sometimes the best way of doing this is using other genres of art. And then isolating one aspect of a piece at a time. It's so easy as a musician, you have this, like, let's say you have a Bach piece, to think about all the aspects, like, oh my gosh, the phrasing and then the articulation and the tuning and the rhythm. It just gets to be a lot. So trying to focus on one thing at a time and just holding space for one thing at a time. I think it's helpful. Chunking is if you've ever read the book The Talent Code, it's how we learn as people, not just through music, but it's like you can't learn a whole piece of music at the same time. You have to like break it up into bite-sized bits. Something else I've done that has been helpful to students is offering constructive feedback to formulate a customized and organized plan of action and actionable steps. Communicating openly about feelings, including performance anxiety and feeling nervous. Encouraging a growth versus a fixed mindset, and other ideas that are relevant to each musician. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is kind of taking each musician or each piece or whatever they're playing, opening the hood and kind of getting underneath the music, and kind of maybe why they're not feeling secure about it or what they hope to feel like. And I'm really trying to get each student to be, I'd rather have them like lead the way and help, and I'm just like helping them find their way as opposed to me just like prescribing things for them. So when I talk about constructive feedback and formulating a customized and organized plan, it's not like, I think you should do this, this, and this. And it'll be like, okay, how'd you feel about that? What do you want to change about it? And how do you think you can get there? And what are the steps? I always say, like, what's one step you get off this meeting with me that you could take in pursuit of that goal? So really breaking things down. Yeah. And I should also say, I'm not being very organized about this. This really resonates with me because, being a teenager is hard. And it's also being a musician is hard because there's a culture around it that's like, you have to be perfect or whatever. Like you have to be perfect. And otherwise it's like not worth doing. And, it's one thing to offer positive encouragement, but it's another thing to be there to challenge your own negative voices. I'm trying to be a person that, frankly, I needed when I was their age. I'm trying to challenge their negative thinking, so they could turn it around and be constructive about it. So what human values apply to this initiative? All of them. But no, the sub values I found the most applicable is compassion for yourself, first of all. self-love, generosity. I put generosity there because thinking about when you're really communicating with your music, when you're able to, you're being very generous with your communication. Openness, maybe openness to trying things that are uncomfortable for you, and openness to sharing with the audience, whoever that may be, and acceptance. So accepting that you're not going to be perfect and just being how you are in that moment. Truth, I think authenticity when you're playing, whatever genre of music you play, authenticity is what really brings people in and brings them back. Bringing one's whole self. So instead of trying to tamp down your nervousness, just kind of owning it, is that if you reframe it, that's just energy that you will need for your performance. And then, of course, creativity. Everyone loves being creative with music. Right action, so vulnerability, kind of similar to what I talked about before. Courage and risk-taking. Peace, contentment in the music you're making, communication and being mindful of the thoughts you're having and how you're talking to yourself. Non-violence, it's about respecting yourself. Anti-racism, again, it's kind of pushing back on the white supremacist view of classical music and being more inclusive. And then liberation, I see this as being liberated from your own thoughts that might keep you from achieving what you want to achieve in music. Some of my students have said, you know, it's hard because Chicago is very diverse. It's very segregated, but it's very diverse. And you know, obviously all, if not most of the institutions they're applying for are, you know, PWIs. And you know, they're kind of struggling, like, okay, I'm going from Chicago, which is relatively diverse, to like, you know, wherever, which is all like white people basically. And it's just making that adjustment and trying to find supports for them. So then when they do get there, they can flourish and not have to, I mean, they'll obviously still have to think about it, but just feel supported wherever they're at and knowing that they're there because of their talents and, you know, not because they're like the token whatever person, you know.